It's red. Is that a good sign?
That's good.
It's 4:25 on Thursday. I did it! We're on time! And this is going to be the pre-show. So I've got 5 minutes to kill till 4:30 and 10 minutes to kill until I usually show up. So let's go out to the shop and do a little pre-show action. Come on. Dave, can you... We are mobile. I got a couple things I want to show you before we start with the official news. Jeremy, say hello.
What's up?
Star Trek doors. Look at that. It's a little bit weird sound in here because it's a round room. I don't know how this is going to sound, but come on over. So, a couple of fun things. Number one, I'm still working on Raspberry Pi. So, I had this old screen that I broke. This is how it's supposed to look. You see that? So anyway, and I didn't realize that I had the Raspberry Pi on an old, I was using an old Raspberry Pi. Excuse me. That's going to be wonderful audio. Anyway, so this is the new one. I have a Raspberry Pi 3, and I just set this up today. It's pretty easy. I followed the instructions online, bolted the Raspberry 3 Pi on there. It's getting power from a little USB cable. I've got a keyboard and mouse, and then it gives the power from the screen. Has its own board here. The box looks like this. Oh, there's one there too. So this is the official Raspberry Pi 7-inch touchscreen display. So they give you instructions and I just follow. So anyway, the power from the bottom board that powers the screen actually powers the Pi. So there's just one little pin out. It's pin, red is on pin 2, and black is on pin 6. So I just looked that up. And, oh man, oh, there, it's still on. So anyway, when you get a Raspberry Pi and you hook it up and you get it running, you got something on the screen, then Wi-Fi is going to give you fits. So I had to go through a little bit of, I followed the instructions but it didn't work. So then I had to search online to find the Wi-Fi config to set up our Wi-Fi here. So I did that, and then I was updating, you got to update the Linux kernel and then upgrade. Anyway, and so then I was able to pull it up. Once I got online, this would be awesome if this fails again for the second week in a row. You can see, it was up. Look, you can see the grid up. Okay, it works. So this is Octopi. Basically what it is a, it's like a print host. In other words, you can control your printer from a Raspberry Pi. So on here, there's a little server running that serves up the UI, the user interface, on a little web server. And so that's wireless. This is my computer on the same wireless network, and I pull up octopi.local, and boom, it's kind of like Repetier or Kira or Chronoface right here. So if I had a printer plugged in, which I don't, because I was just doing the update. But this is what the interface looks like. Your temperature goes here. It does say it's offline. I don't know if I could, I hate doing stuff on the fly because I always screw it up. But anyway, this is, okay, I still haven't got this done yet. I got to update this. There's a webcam that's right here. Whether I hooked up the cable wrong or it's just not updated, I got to make sure the webcam works because that's kind of cool. You can watch your prints, so I'm going to get that working. And then when you load G-code, you can see it right there. There's a terminal for the geeky stuff. And then you can set up your camera and do time-lapse. So every so many seconds it can take a picture and then that goes into a video file. So anyway, Octoprint is really cool on a Raspberry Pi. They call it Octopi. So anyway, I'm making progress, and we're going to try to use this in the prosthetic printer with a new Printrbot G2. So the little touch screen you saw in the front, we're going to try to do away with that, and it was the Mini Vicky, and we're going to replace that. I ordered some little itty bitty touchscreens, smaller than this, from Adafruit, and we're going to try the little itty bitty screen, and we're going to try this screen. We're going to see if we can get Octopi running in that prosthetic printer. The advantage would be you don't have that little micro SD card to deal with like you do on the Mini Vicky, and you've got an interface that theoretically, I don't even know the answer to this, but he wants to use a USB key to transfer files, so you know, it's been a while since I've done Octopi. I don't know if you can even do that. But I know that it'll work through Wi-Fi, so we'll find out. Anyway, so that's that. And this would be fun too. I talked last week. Oh, it's 4:31, so we've officially started. Welcome. I'm Brook with Printrbot.com. This is Printrbot live on Facebook and then later on other stuff. But we're doing a little pre-show and I'm just finishing up. So I talked last week about the robot lawnmower that I'm going to be working on. And I called Brian today and he's in. So we can't help ourselves. We don't want to make this easy. We want to make it really hard. And so I'm talking to him about this idea of making this really big printer. Not the Big E, but something that maybe you can make out of plywood. So other people can join us for cheap and print this robot lawnmower. It would be awesome. But anyway, so first I think we're going to make a big printer, and then we're going to figure out what we want to do. We want to make a tank. I mean, you could put wheels on a little, you know, thing you bought from Walmart for $100. Boring. We want big tank treads. We want it to be cool. So anyway, Brian Rowe, he said was my engineer for years. He designed the Simple and a bunch of other stuff. And he was on a TV show with me, and a good friend. So Brian, this is your call out. You said you'd be watching. Wish you were here. By the way, that reminds me, next week, I can't do Thursday at 4:30. This is the first time this is week 8.
2 months now. Well, I think this is the 9th one.
This is the 9th one. Well, the 10th one isn't going to happen on Thursday at 4:30 because my daughter is getting married. Okay? Friday. Thursday next week. That's the rehearsal dinner, and she comes first. So we can do it on Wednesday. So we're going to do a day early. And we've got a treat for you, but I don't want to promise anything because I'm bad on promises. So hopefully Wednesday, 4:30 will work out for you and me and everybody else. All right, so anyway, that's Octopi. I'm getting close to it being working, and you should get a Raspberry Pi and do that along with me. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you while I'm at my computer is, I don't know where I should view this, but let me just see if this opens. So, in preparation for the robot lawnmower, I scanned, you know what I could do? I could show them on my phone. I scanned my lawnmower. I wanted to see what the traditional lawnmower size is, and I thought it'd be hilarious to bring it into some program and look at it. So here it is. I'll show you on this day. Ah! It wants me to plug in my scanner. I don't know if this will work. I don't know why it needs to plug that in. So I have a structure sensor camera, and it connects to my iPhone. I don't know how much this is. I think I paid like, I don't know. I'll get down here. I don't know, $400 or something. Maybe it's $285. I don't remember. But it's so fast to scan. It looks kind of weird when you're doing it. I should have a case for this, but anyway, so I'm going to scan Dave real quick and I'll show you. Dave, don't even move. Okay. Don't move. I know I'm off screen, but watch how fast this is. Okay, there's that side. And that side. Done. So check this out. Can you see this?
Yep.
Alright. So I scanned my lawnmower just like this. That's what Dave looks like in 3D. Now I didn't scan the back of them, see? But I scanned the front of them, so it's a very fast scanner. So anyway, I scanned my lawnmower and I thought I'd bring it into Fusion 360. Okay, yes. That's hilarious. I'm in Simplify 3D. I like to call it Complify 3D. And apparently my lawnmower is really tiny because I scanned it in inches, I think. Let's see here. Look how small that is, Dave. It's like the miniature lawnmower. Here. There it is. That's the side of it anyway. I do not know how to use Simplify 3D, let's face it. Alright, I'm giving up on this. You're going to have to trust me that I scanned my lawnmower. There, it sort of is. There. Golly. It came in as an OBJ, so instead of converting it, I just thought I'd show it to you real quick. There. That's my lawnmower. So I'm going to bring that into Fusion 360 and play around with the exact dimensions, because one thought I had was to make a tank tread platform for it that you just park the lawnmower, take the wheels off, park the lawnmower on it. But anyway, I'm working more with this scanner to try to be able to make very large things, because I'm toying around with making a very big, like I told you, for this lawnmower project, I want to make a big 3D printer that is totally affordable and DIY at home. You can make one with Printrbot parts. So anyway, that's the pre-show. Let's get to the fun stuff. Let's go over here and see Steve before he takes off. Star Trek doors. I love Star Trek doors. No! Sorry about that. You gotta be quick. All right. Come in tight, people. Keep in tight. All right. Can you see us both, Dave? Mm-hmm. All right. Hey, this is Steve. Steve? Steve. Steve's our engineer, and he is also our machinist. Like me, no formal training. We just learned this. We don't know what we're doing. But we like to call ourselves engineers because it's just simpler. Instead of saying, no, I have a pastor's degree and blah, 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 I just say, yeah, I do engineering. Anyway, so this is Steve, and Steve helps me with basically everything I do. He's the guy that has to go in after I screw up a 3D model. He cleans up my work. But anyway, I want to show you one thing, because I got the water jet. You might have seen the, I don't want to go see it because it's just a big tank of muddy water, you know, so it's not that exciting. But I did get it cleaned out, and now we're water jetting again, and one of the things we need to do is make a whole bunch of parts for some orders we had on our sale for Memorial Day. It was Memorial Day, right? Yeah, okay. I always mix that up with the other one. Labor Day, yeah. Anyway. All right, so I had him, look down here, Dave. So Steve's been making our precision upgrades, and those are here. How tight are we on this shot?
We're about to be real tight.
Okay, great. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Do you have the original parts that were upcycling?
No.
With you? Okay. Well, this right here, I'll tell you there's a telltale, no, it's okay, because I think this right here is the telltale sign, right? Yeah. So we had some old parts that we can't use, but it is good Delrin, and I love Delrin. It's a great, there's half of one. So this is an old bar end that was flawed in a certain way. I think actually when we put it together with M3s, it stripped out this hole. So we were like, ah, screw that, and we threw it in a bin. Well, we have all this material, so we're upcycling to make these bar ends for the smalls. So he takes this old piece, cuts it in two. I think you can use this half or this part, and I believe this half comes out of the other part. So yes, we are cheapskates, but we recycle. So you've got this weird, you're probably wondering, what is this? Why did you do that in this part? Because it was there, basically. So anyway, that's Delrin. He's been machining these out of Delrin, out of that part. But this stuff comes out of fresh metal, right, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have another part set up, but I just wanted to show you how pretty these parts are. Now we have to do, how many ops is this part? Operations is, you got to clamp it, boom. You start an automated process, goes in and does all this crap.
Yeah, so this one's 4. So it does pretty much the whole part on the first, and the second one you got a couple holes and it faces it, and you have a third and a fourth.
So
this one's only 3.
Okay, 3 ops. Tell me about the ops on this.
So this one, same thing. It does this whole part up, and you have a little extra on the bottom. Then you'll flip it over, face it, do some holes, and then you flip it on its side to do these holes.
And then it goes over to Mark, and Mark taps. What's tapped in here? Show me what's tapped.
This one we've got tapped holes on the front, and then on the bottom comes underneath the printer. This one we got 3 holes on the bottom and 2 holes on the side for the printer board.
How much is this upgrade, Dave? $100, $120, something like that? 99. So that may sound like a lot of money, but let me tell you, Steve's been working for a couple days on. We have a slow machine. I don't mean to say it in a bad way, but the Tormach uses steppers instead of servos. Now, we have a fast machine over here that I wish somebody would fly out here and show us how to use, because I don't know what the crap is going on with this machine. It is here, it's awesome, it's a Haas mini mill, and I don't know how to use it, frankly. Here's one problem, look at this. When it was first made, can you get in tight on this? You okay? All right, when it was first made, it had a floppy drive. Which always cracked me up, because I'm old enough to know that discs used to be floppy, but then they got hard, and they weren't really floppy. Yeah. Anyway, the point is, it had this 3.5-inch disc, and that's how you transferred files. What were those, like 1.44 megs or something?
Yeah.
Megs!
Yep.
They converted it to a USB drive, which we can't get to work. Is that right?
Well, we got it to work. It's just a weird system to get it to work.
You
have to convert 2 floppies on the USB.
That's for crap. Anyway, so we ended up doing like an old copy of Windows and through the serial port. I mean, there's so many people involved in just connecting to this machine. No offense, Haas, but what? Anyway, so we could go a lot faster in machine, but sometimes it's like, what can you do today? We can use the Tormach. So Steve's been working for a couple days getting these parts already. There's another part I want to show you, and this uses a combination of the water jet and then a secondary operation. So check this out. We have this thick material. What does this come in when it's raw?
It's a 6 by 4 foot by 1/2 inch.
So this is
stock.
It's long. Is it cut out like this?
Yep.
Like one after the other? So this is a path for the water jet, one after the other, and there's this long piece. I don't know how many they did. And then you can kind of tell, can you see this surface on this? You can get in tight. I can come in closer if you want.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so this kind of like, it looks like sandpaper almost. It's like, that's what the water jet looks like, because sand is cutting it with water at very high pressure. 50,000 PSI, 55,000 PSI. That's a lot of PSI. Don't do that for your car tires. It's like 44 PSI. Anyway, so what it does is saves us a lot of machine time, because it's fairly fast when compared to seeing this alone. So these parts are water jet first, and then they come over to Steve. And while this is a different part, I just ruined one part. I didn't mean to. Sorry, Steve. Anyway, this is another part, and so you can see it still has that surface on the side, but he's done some ops in the CNC. You can see that little diamond edge on the side. What happens to this part when you CNC it? What all are you doing to it?
Well, I do
kind of hold it right here so they can see
chamfer the edges. I come in and clean up the bore for the rod, so it's nice and precise, because the water jet does leave a little bit of an angle.
Yeah, there's a curve.
So we want to come in, clean up that bore so it gets good contact with that rod. So that's what this will be. So then one more op that I need to do is drill and tap these, so they're little clamps that grab onto that rod.
I love this design. So Steve came up with that. Really cool. When he asked him, hey, why don't we water jet this? I was like, yeah, whatever. That sounds stupid. I wasn't that mean, really. But I'd never seen it done, so I was like, okay, whatever. It saved a lot of time, huh?
Yeah.
And I've been really impressed with what Steve did here. So that part and this part, when it's finished, makes up the Z rods, or the Z stage. I don't know what to call it. I'll show you in there. For the Smalls Z upgrade. So it does away with quite a few parts. And is there still one of these parts at the bottom or not?
It does away with this one.
Okay, so let me see. So you don't need this. So don't do the precision upgrade and the Z upgrade. That's a waste of money because you're going to be throwing that in the trash.
Yeah. We still have this, but it's not used for the Z.
Where does this go? Which one's the bottom?
That's fine.
Okay. How's it oriented?
About like this.
Okay. So it sits next to it, and so we still use this block. And by the way, it's printed because we don't have just this for sale in the store. Is that the only precision part that would be relevant on this Z upgrade?
I mean, you'd still use these, the Y-axis, but the Z bar ends are also obsolete.
Yeah.
So
All right. So Dave, guess what? I got an idea. Dropping more parts. These two, and this for those with a Z upgrade that want metal parts. Let's get this. We'll figure out how much that costs, and maybe we can sell people these sweet parts because that's what I want.
Yeah.
That's the one I want. So when you get it ready, I'll buy one.
Great.
Awesome. Okay. So anyways, thanks a lot, Steve. High five on all your hard work. And I don't know where that part went. It's on the shot. Let me get it. Sorry about that. I think it would probably be okay. All right, man. All right. Have a good night. Thank you. All right, let's go back in there. 447. I like this pre-show thing because I can burn a little time and like use some of my words before people are interested. Okay, so just a couple of things left to cover. First, are you waiting on the shot? It looks like you're looking over there. Is that true?
Yeah, trying
A little
to
bit?
resettle.
All right, so Dave's going to get all set up with the shot. But let me tell you, I wanted to share one letter from a customer. Hope it's good, Dave, because I haven't even read this yet. Okay. Hey, Dave. Dave's, well, he's probably going to hate me for telling you this, but he's in charge of our customer service, and he does an awesome job. So people love him, except for the people that hate him, which are very few compared to the people that love him. Anyway, he's not our only customer service guy. We've got Ian, we've got Eric, and they are abroad. Ian's in the UK, Eric's in Canada, right? So I don't even know what time zone Eric's in. Is he like our
time zone?
He's in our time zone. So they're part-time. Dave's full-time. So you've now met the whole customer service staff, believe it or not. But they do a pretty good job. By the way, customer service is not, I mean, we have business hours, and I'm a boss that wants people to have a weekend. So I don't work 24/7, 365. I mean, I work 24/7, 365 pretty much, but not totally, but I work weekends. The guys in customer service, they get a weekend. So some people complain that, you know, it's Saturday morning at 7 a.m. and nobody's answered me in 4 hours. Well, that's because they're at home with their families. And that's just the way it is. So if you don't like my policy on customer service, you may want to look elsewhere, because these guys have a weekend. They come back in on Monday and they get to work. So this guy says, hey, Dave, I wanted to thank you for your support in getting the G2 board to work in my upgraded Printrbot Play. I don't know what EX105 means. What does that mean? Okay. The materials you sent plus the supplemental start code info you posted in the support site did the trick. Sorry for the much belated reply. As much as I enjoy 3D printing, it takes a backseat to my faith, family, and work responsibilities, all of which have kept me on the run the last several weeks. I know the feeling. Remember, my daughter's getting married, so Yeah, life is nuts. My job as a CPA isn't as much fun as 3D printing, but it pays the bills. If you're ever looking to expand your operations in the South, the Lafayette, Louisiana area has a lot to offer tech. It was a pleasure corresponding with the most known Printrbot representative next to Brook. Dave, you're famous! Dave's awesome. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I think I said this one other time, but Dave and myself, we married some wonderful women that happen to be sisters. So, and it's been great to have Dave and Sarah here. Anyway, so there's just one letter from somebody doing the G2. And I didn't bring it in, but I did want to highlight the fact that the G2 will work in the smalls. The Printrbot G2 has the same mounting holes as this. Now, some of the plugins, because we have this little legacy board that clicks onto where we normally plug in a ribbon cable from the Simple Pro. So we made this little board to be able to adapt it to just this regular wires, this type of stuff, not a ribbon cable. So it's a little bit different here, and I think that's going to affect the case. I think we're going to have to design a case that gives a little more space out here. It might look odd, but I haven't done it yet. I haven't run a smalls on a G2 board, but I want you to know that it's totally possible. So a Printrbot G2 board runs TinyG firmware that has now been modified. It took a long time for Alden and Rob to kind of work through all the hard problems in this, but they do CNC boards traditionally. TinyG, you'll see that if you do a Google search for really, really nice CNC boards. But to add temperature control and all the stuff that goes along with extrusion and all their fancy math that they do that make really great motion control, it was hard. But now you can use a Printrbot G2, which is TinyG, and it's for 3D printing. So it's open source code. It's a great little board, and you will notice the difference if you own a Printrbot with a printer board, which is an 8-bit board, and you slap on a 32-bit ARM processor, Printrbot G2 with TinyG. It'll sound different. It'll move different. It'll look so buttery compared to the herky-jerk of an 8-bit board. But anyway, I haven't done that yet, but I did want to mention it. All right, so I saw you brought up a screen here. I'm looking at a screen that he gives me notes so he doesn't have to interrupt me.
Yeah, well, that's just so when I do need to interrupt you, I can.
Okay, cool. So if you've got questions and you want to ask, I don't care how random they are. It's 4:53. I'm not going to go super long today. So if you got a question, get it in now. Some notes on the smalls. I mean, every week we have notes on the smalls, but this week it's a bit of a confession. I have some things I need to admit. While I'm thinking about it, this is the Z upgrade installed, and you can see this part that we were looking at there. That's finished, and it's kind of hidden under here, but that's the Z upgrade on the bottom. This also has the X upgrade, which is very similar to the Play Y upgrade in that it's the same build platform, a Mic 6 board. But anyway, print bit. But I wanted to show you this for one reason. So we shipped a few of these boards. Originally, these are the stock. You can see it. Well, maybe you can't, but these are the injection molded bar ends. Brian did this mold. It's really great. It's injection molded. We've got this little injection molding machine that allows us to do, I think, a 1-ounce shot of plastic. So this comes to life in a mold, and we got one of each side, and we could use it on the Play. Well, I modified it to work on the smalls. We add a little operation right here in our CNC to knock out that hole for this one, to cut this hole down there, and to drill a couple of holes here. Yeah, right here. So anyway, that works on the smalls. So that's what comes with the smalls. Well, we sent out some beds for this X upgrade that didn't have new holes. You can kind of see it here. Dave, can you get a shot of this? I want to draw attention to these holes right here. So come in tight.
Can you make it a little more vertical?
Like this?
Yeah, there's clear.
Okay. So you see these holes right here and here. We were supposed to drill these holes because when I was designing these upgrades, I thought, well, I want to use these bar ends, so let's just drill new holes. Well, of course, that leaves 4 holes on this side, which does, open up the opportunity for some confusion. So we shipped some of these out without drilling those extra holes to fit this small bar end. So I shipped it to one of our customers, and he got it out, and he said, hey, this upgrade doesn't work. Where's the holes? It doesn't work. So he said, you know what, I'm going to open up Fusion 360 for the first time in my life, and I'm going to design a part. And he designed a part. He gave us that part. What was his name? Rick Scott. So thank you, Rick Scott. You inspired me to do something better, to take your design, modify it a little bit for fast printing, and now we have these 2 parts that we designed thanks to Rick Scott's inspiration. And we don't have to drill those holes anymore because it's a shame to have 4 holes in a heat bed when you don't need them. So he designed a part like this. We did the same. And it puts the existing holes on this play upgrade. It puts those existing holes in the right place for the bar end in relation to the bars. So we've installed it on here, and it is installed here. Let's see, that's the wrong one. It's this one. So I don't know if you can see that. So this is the same part. In fact, one little nice touch is there's a little nubbins right here to better reach the that little end stop. So really great job. Did Steve design this? Probably Steve designed this. So Steve, the machinist out there, did a good job. And so now we have a file that you can print yourself. And I'm going to ask a painful question, perhaps, Dave. Are these published yet? Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Great. All right, so these are published. If you have this upgrade with only 4 holes, you need to print these. And I was talking to one guy on Twitter, and he was like, this doesn't work. I got a smalls. I got the upgrade, and the upgrade doesn't work. And I kind of had to talk him into, hey, build it so it prints, all right? And just start printing with the base smalls. And then we'll get you this file, and you'll be able to print these bar ends to make it work, even though I made a mistake on that. So anyway, I wanted to tell you about that. That's live. So we found a mistake that we did. Now, that aside, I think that's all I wanted to talk about here. We'll move over to this, because I have another confession to make on this. Don't follow me. I'm just going to put this over here. Come back. All right, so somebody else let us know about another mistake we made. Now, I've got this set up to show you the mistake. Now, you won't probably notice the mistake on this. This is the base smalls. And when you're down at the bottom, you can go all the way to the back of the 4-inch platform, go to the front of the 4-inch platform. Oh, I don't have my little screen here to limit it. But, it'll work fine until you do a print that takes up the entire 4x4, and you start going up, because I've been talking about how the smalls goes to 6 inches on the Z. Now, I say talking about that because in the description in our webpage, Dave correctly put that you could reach 5 inches of Z height on the smalls. And a couple of people said, whoa, there's even more. There's like 5.5 Z. And by the way, I like to do that. I like to under-promise, over-deliver when I can. So if I have, an extra couple millimeters, I won't talk about that in the bed. It's funny how some manufacturers are like 11.09 inches, and that's what the spec reads. Well, okay, congratulations, but 11 is easier to say. So what I do is I typically use inches, but 100 inches is roughly the same, give or take. So anyway, this is 4x4 or 100 by 100. And then you get up to the top, and boom, this, I'll get another one to show you. Look here. Can you see this? So there's 2 screws on this bar end that are plastites. And you can see this is at the bottom. Very tight tolerances, motor to this metal plate. You get up high, and if you come all the way back, and you got to print like a big cube or rectangle, and the motor hits these screws. So that's my fault. So what did we do? I went out in my shop, and we ordered some countersink plastites. The annoying thing about these is they use one of those funky star, like Torx. It's like a star pattern or Torx screwdriver. So you got to get a weird tool. We countersunk those with a little V bit we have, and then I put these new screws in, and now it works fine. So it passes along. See, now the motor clears. Very hard to show. Dave, I don't know how good the resolution is. Can you see how close this motor is to that wall? It's very close. So what are we going to do? Well, first off, I'm going to tell you about it before you find out about it. Right here at this position at the high Z, it's going to hit those screws. Now, the good news is if you take a drill bit, now this is a, what is this, 3/16? Yeah. You can take the existing plastite screw, take it out, get a drill bit that's bigger than the size of the head, and countersink yourself so those will sink down in there. Maybe even a file to file off a little bit off the top of that round button head. You could use your existing equipment, a drill, and a pain in the butt, and you could make that work, okay? Another option. These, we will put online a product, and Dave is taking notes. 2 of these screws that if you have an existing Smalls, we'll ship you 2 of these screws for free. You're going to have to get your own drill bit to do the countersink, and we'll send you these for free. Now, we're not going to do this very long. I'm only going to do this for, I don't know, a couple weeks, maybe a month tops, and then we'll just kill it. But we need a free product where I ship it at my expense, and they get their 2 little screws, and they can fix this. Here's what that'll give you. Right now, before we change it, it said it was actually 5.5 inches of Z height. Well, if you fix this yourself, or you let me help you fix this, you will get 6 inches of travel in Z. And that was the intention. And that's what we screwed up. So anyway, now, full disclosure, you know. So that's what we've discovered and got a solution for. Now, going forward, the kits that we ship after, now we've already made some. I think there's another 25 that we've made recently here. So we're going to change this file. We're going to move this motor out a little bit to clear those plastites, because these countersink plastites are way more expensive than the other ones. So I'm going to fix the model and give a little bit more clearance on that motor. It'll miss the screw heads. Everybody that buys after that model is made, they won't even know what happened. But for you guys that bought one of these, you may want to do that mod so that you can get that extra height. The end.